got mad. Man, that's some good game, wasn't it? You think I can repeat all that? All right. What's up, Xavier? All right. Any other questions, you guys, before we get started? About anything we just talked about?
What about if you wholesale in a state whereby they use attorney, using using attorney in that state? What do you do? They use the same contract, right?
Where they use what?
Attorney. They don't close using the title company.
Oh yeah, that doesn't matter. So whether the title company uses an attorney or not doesn't matter.
I mean, the state.
Doesn't matter.
So you use the same.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. Do you have contracts for subject to properties?
Yes. So we do have contracts for subject to. And so I started my career off doing subject to deals. And so I believe in investortoolkit.com, there's some subject to contracts. But if not, you can just get the, I can send you guys templates of some of the ones I've done.
What about the ones for seller finance?
Yes. So seller financing, we have contracts for everything related to real estate investing, creative financing. Like we have all the contracts. You made it, George.
Yes, sir.
All right, William, you have any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. I'm just trying to get to you because I know you will.
Thank you. Hey, Greg, can you think about the market for transfer? I heard something yesterday about the rates are supposed to not come up. They'll go up for the rest of the year.
So the real estate market, it's funny, the interest rates are about 7%. The Fed came out a couple of days ago and said that they are not raising the interest rates, but they implied that they will be, around the end of the year. So when I got into real estate, it was good to get a 10% interest rate. And when interest rates went down to 7%, everybody was ecstatic. They were excited. They were refinancing. They were buying houses. But now, since we're used to interest rates being as low as like 2%, now they go up to 7%, and nobody wants to buy now. And so everything is a certain perspective. It's like, what's your perspective? I will tell you that we're still in a seller's market, meaning there's still more buyers than sellers. A house goes on the market, it's going to sell right away. Somebody tell me why. Why are we, even though that the interest rates are higher than they were, we're still in a seller's market. Why? So it's this lack of inventory. And then the sellers are sellers. Where are they going to? They're going to sell, and then where are they going to move to? And what's that interest rate going to be? And so a lot of the sellers' interest rates, 2%, 3%. Now they sell their property. They go to buy another property. The interest rate is much higher, 7%. For us as investors, we just keep going. We just keep finding properties because we know as investors that what goes up must come down. And so we buy properties now. The market is still appreciating. I read an article this morning that said within the next year, property values are going to go up about 7 or 8%. And so we want to take advantage of that now, especially if we're buying and holding. We want to take advantage of that appreciation because we're building wealth. We buy a house today. We want it to go up in value every year. Now, we do have to deal with the interest rates and the payments. Our payments, if we're buying and holding, is going to be a little higher, right? But we're gaining value through appreciation. So the property values are going up. And then when they come back down, what happens? We refinance. Now we're making more money because our mortgage payments are lower. And the rents that are coming in from our tenants either stay the same or go up. So now when the interest rates come down, we refinance and our cash flow increases, but the values of our property also increases all along the way. So we keep buying, and there's deals out here. Does anybody think that there's no deals out here? Are there any deals out here, Andre? Huh?
Yes.
So there's deals out here, you guys, and we'll talk about how to find those deals. I want to introduce Danielle.
Hello, how are you?
Introduce yourself,
You
Danielle.
done talk so much.
I know.
So I'm Danielle Sampson Parker. I'm a real estate agent and investor. And so I've been an agent since 2016, but I've been an investor since 2000, maybe 19, right before the pandemic. So right now I'm actually full time, 30 days in full time. So I have a lot of stuff that I got going on.
Dana.
My name is Dana Lewis. I'm not an agent, but I am an investor. I've been with Greg for about a little over 2 years. Having a good time.
And so you guys are here to learn about building wealth and making money, multiple streams of income. And so that's what these guys have done. Danielle is an investor. She's a realtor with Bennett Realty Solutions. Talk about some of your last couple deals that you've done, especially either the wholesale ones or the one in Baltimore that you bought.
So right now, primarily what I'm doing, because of the interest rates, a lot of people, buying property because, investors are buying property and the interest rates are really, really high. Like for me, I'm kind of like putting a pause on it because of the interest rates are really, really high. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm building cash because I'm doing just wholesale deals right now. Now, if it comes to a great deal, what I have to buy it, I absolutely will. But right now, I'm just kind of like stacking my cash so I can make sure that next great thing, then I actually have the capital to do that. So my last wholesale deal was actually September. Actually 2 months ago. That was in DC. So I made $60,000 off of that one. But that one was I chased this person for maybe 7 months. So don't think you get into wholesaling and it just happens instantly. You have to be persistent. You have to follow up. You have to follow up. You have to follow up. And then once you get your name out there, people will come to you. I don't do a whole lot of marketing. I'm more social media, things like that, and word of mouth. So once you become, when people know what you do, they come and they'll make sure that you get that deal. But again, it's more of the follow up. You have to be persistent and make sure that you're following up on those deals.
So Dana, what's the last, say, 2 years been like for you?
So what I've done is shifted from started wholesaling from wholesale to buy and hold, wholesale to buy and hold. So that's kind of my strategy. I wholesale to get the money to buy and hold. I want as many buy and holds as I possibly can, but of course that money has to come from somewhere. So that's where the wholesaling comes in. So I've wholesaled some deals, mostly to Greg. He's pretty much my cash buyer, and I've held some properties as well.
So wholesaling, what is wholesaling? Somebody tell me what wholesaling is. We're talking about wholesaling. What is wholesaling? Somebody explain that to me. You guys have heard that term. So there's two strategies for the real estate investor. There's a buy for cash strategy, where we're investing in real estate and we're getting cash back. It's quick, and so that's flipping properties and then wholesaling properties. And like Dana said, then we use the second strategy, which is to buy and hold for cash flow, equity, and appreciation. And so we use both strategies. Wholesaling. What's wholesaling? Who can explain what wholesaling is? What's wholesaling, Andre?
Wholesaling is finding a property, getting it under contract for a really good price, a really good deal, and then selling that contract to another investor who's trying to buy it at a high price.
And so that's the exact definition of it. And so as wholesalers, we're not selling real estate, we're selling paper. And so we're selling the contract. We're assigning the contract to another investor. So we're trying to get a property under contract for a bargain price and then assigning that same contract to another investor below market. That's what wholesaling is. And so that's the A to B contract. That's all wholesaling is. And so you've got to understand the numbers. And so as a real estate investor, it's all about the math. So what's the math? You've got to understand the math. If you understand the math, you'll make a lot of money wholesale and you won't lose money. And so here's the math, you guys. Here's the math. The math is we want to find the ARVs. So somebody write down ARV. Write that down. ARV stands for after repair value. We want to find the after repair value of a property. Once you find the after repair value of a property, you're golden. What's the property worth once it's completely renovated? It's worth $300,000 now, but once it's renovated, it's worth $600,000. That $600,000 is your ARV, your after repair value. You've got to find that. Now, once we find the after repair value, as a wholesaler, you're putting that property under contract at 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs. 65%. Write it down. It is in your handout, but write it down. 65% minus repair costs. Once you're able to negotiate and put it under contract at 65%, you're going to assign that contract to a cash buyer at 70%. Handout, scratch it out in the handout on number 6. It says 75, but it's 70%. 70%. Is that on? Yeah. You don't see it? Is it on YouTube? Are you on YouTube? Should be on Facebook too. All right, so let me give you a quick scenario. Write this down. ARV is 300,000. ARV is 300,000. House is renovated. It's got a new roof, new windows, new flooring, granite countertops, everything. Now it's worth 300,000. We're going to take 65% of that 300,000, and we get what? What's 65%? Is it 195?
Yeah.
All right. Now we're going to subtract the repair cost from that. Let's just say on that house, the repair cost is $60,000. Repair cost is $60,000. So we take the 195 minus the 60,000, and we get what? We get 135, right? 135. Write down these three letters: MAO. MAO. MAO stands for maximum allowable offer. So the 135 is your maximum allowable offer that you're going to make to the motivated seller. That's your offer to the seller. You want to buy that property for 135. You guys with me? You got that, William? I'm watching you, William. So you want to write that you want to buy that property for 135. You're able to get that property under contract. Now you've got to figure out what Danielle's going to buy it for. Danielle's buying that property all day long at 70%. So let's take 70% of 300,000. We get 210 minus the repair cost of 60,000, which is 150,000. Danielle is ecstatic to buy that property for 150. You're under contract for 135 with the A to B contract. You offer this contract to Danielle at 150. The B to C contract, that's the assignment agreement. How much money did you just make? Huh? You just made 15,000. The difference between the 150 and the 135. Danielle's buying it at 150. You're on a contract for 135. The difference is your wholesale fee. Or to take a shortcut, 5% of the after repair value is what your wholesale fee is. 5% of the after repair value. 5% of the after repair value is what? 15,000. You guys with me? That's wholesaling right there. That's wholesaling. Now, Danielle, in real life, how does that work? Are you using formulas, or are you just negotiating with the cash buyer?
I've always used a formula. I use a formula because that's what I was taught. I was taught by Greg to use the formulas. I do use a formula, but for me, I negotiate. So my wholesale deals are not usually $15,000-$20,000 because I'm always in the process of negotiating. If I use the formula correctly and keep it as that, 15,000-20,000 is great. But I try to negotiate, especially with my the seller, because I want to make sure that I get that property lower than the 65%. So as long as you know your numbers, you know how to negotiate, you golden. But again, you have to stick with the formula. And even though you fall in love and you think you want to do this, you got to stick with the formula. You have to stick with the formula to make money.
Bill?
I understand the numbers part. I work the numbers for some time. It's the negotiating. I can talk with numbers. I have a difficult time in communicating with the person. At what point do I have to say, okay, I'm not good at this?
You tell the motivated seller that you're not good at it?
Excuse me?
Wait, say that again?
I'm good at the numbers.
You're good at the numbers?
When it comes to negotiating,
Yes.
that's people are people.
Uh-huh.
That may be the area I may not be good at.
Okay.
At what point do I say, okay, I've got the numbers, but if I want to get that person to work within my numbers, everybody's, you want to make money, but you don't want to lose it.
So my suggestion is, if you're in a coaching group, you have Greg, you have a whole team that can help you with
Okay.
communicating. But once you take a $60,000-$70,000 check, you'll learn how to communicate.
I've been working on that.
Yeah, you'll learn how to communicate. But you have a group, you're networking. In this group, you're not by yourself. So that's the importance of having a group or someone, a coaching program, because you're not by yourself. So what you lack in, someone else is great at. So you can play off each other. So Greg is great. He'll always help you do whatever you need to do. So you're not by yourself.
So we'll help you negotiate. So that's number one. And so for some of you guys, if this is your first time, even if your second time, we will go with you and negotiate. But I think a lot of this is mindset. And so you've got to put in your mind that you are a good negotiator. But you just have to learn how to negotiate. And so we teach in our class. I mean, we have classes on how to negotiate. And it's not hard. And there's about 8 different steps that we teach and 8 different ways to negotiate. And you'll learn very quickly, because the better you are at negotiating, the more money you're going to make. Dana wasn't in our coaching program long, and he learned how to negotiate. Talk to him, Dana.
Quickly. Because Greg was the first person I had to negotiate with. So my first
And he
wholesale,
won.
my first wholesale deal, I didn't have I felt like you. I didn't have the confidence to negotiate this deal. So I said, Greg, come to the property with me, but I want you to negotiate. I'm stepping back. So I led him to the owner, and we stood there, and he negotiated the price. I won't go any further with that.
And then I negotiated a good price. We walk outside. He said, "You could have did better than that."
So I learned because I watched him. But see, with you you negotiate twice. You're negotiating with the seller, and then you negotiate with your cash buyer. So there's 2 different negotiations you got to go through. And when I had to sit down and negotiate with Greg, that's how I learned, because I watched it. And I felt that he was overpowering me. Men, we don't like for another man to overpower us. So I had to learn quickly. We had to learn quickly how to do that. And now Greg and I go head to head, and we.
But I think the lesson is now you negotiate. Like you're not afraid to negotiate.
Correct.
And so it's a negotiation. And like Dana said, it's 2 negotiations. The better negotiating, the more money you put in your pocket. I negotiate to the bitter end. And so I'm negotiating to what we just talked about, the formula. I put them on a contract, and then a week or 2 before settlement, I do a renegotiation to try to get my number down even further. And I do that on like 100% of my deals. I do a renegotiation. And so I did one on J Street in Northeast and Deanwood, where I negotiated to the formula. And then about 4 or 5 days before settlement, I went back to the wholesaler. I think it was the wholesaler because I was a cash buyer. I went back to the wholesaler and I said, look, my contractor just went back through there again. There's more renovations that need to take place than we thought. We opened up a wall and there's termites, which is a true story. There was termites. And I said to them, I said, I need to get the price lower, about $30,000 lower than what we're on the contract for. Now, I really only wanted like 10, 15. And I implied that if they didn't take the price down lower, that I was going to pull out the contract. But I couldn't pull out the contract. I'm under contract. But I implied that. So, and so I negotiated that. And so I wanted to come down 30. We agreed at 15. I'm like happy. It came down another 15. So what happens to that 15 extra? Where does that go? That just goes right into my pocket. It's a renegotiation. And so it's a negotiation. You guys got to do it. And you cannot be afraid.
So if I was your wholesaler and you did it to me, I'm just saying. And so I already have your EMD, so if you back out, I keep your EMD. Now I probably would have gave you maybe 5 or 7, but I wouldn't have went down that low.
But
Because
5 or
that's
7.
my pocket.
But
And you're still happy, right?
I was happy at what I negotiated initially for. I'm happy there. I'm already on the contract. I'm just trying to make it better.
Yeah, he's just not gonna
Yeah.
stop.
Well, I know. But you would have. How much my EMD would have been? 10%.
You'd have gave me another 5.
I would have gave you 5 because we.
Okay, I know that.
Relational,
I know that.
Relational. But if I didn't know you, I probably wouldn't. But I would have said, well, yeah, you lost your EMD, and somebody else would have bought the property.
So what I do want to suggest that you learn about residential construction and renovation, because really that's the power of your negotiation. If you can look at a property and say, well, you know, and you see things and you're able to point these things out to the seller, well, yeah, wow, okay. And then that's where you start to back them down.
Part of the negotiation process is understanding rehab costs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't basically say, okay, I don't understand rehabilitation. I cannot look at the property and say, okay, overall, 20%.
But you can understand it. It's just another step you have to take.
Construction.
No, you guys are missing the point. You're missing the point. It's just about numbers. You don't have to know about construction. It's a negotiation. You don't have to know anything about construction. You're negotiating, whether you know construction or not. You're trying to get that number as low as possible to put more money into your pocket. You don't need to be an expert on that.
Right.
I'm an expert.
Yeah,
I'm an
from a wholesale
expert, or
point.
somebody you got a mentor, you got a coach. You're just trying to make the numbers work. And then until you're able to really go in there and determine, so here you guys write this down. You find out what the after repair value is. You guys find that out. You can find that out from a realtor. If you're a realtor, you can run your comps. There's other PropStream. If you get PropStream will give you what the ARV is, and there's some other tools that you can use to get the ARV. If you don't have your cash buyer in hand, if there's not a contractor, handyman, mentor, coach around, here's what I do. If I'm negotiating and I'm trying to run my numbers, I take 20%. I haven't seen the property. I take 20% of the after repair value, and more likely than not, that's going to be real close to what the repair cost is going to be. And so when I gave you guys that scenario, 300,000 times 70% minus $60,000 in repair costs, that $60,000 came from 20% of the 300,000. So 20% of the ARV is generally, not always, it's not an exact science, not always, but I don't want you not being able to determine the repair costs to be a barrier for you not getting a deal. So if all else fails, you don't have a contractor with you, your cash buyer is not with you, use 20%. I use 20%. And generally speaking, when I'm renovating properties, I don't really want to go over 20% of the after repair value for my rehab costs. Now, does it always work 100% of the time? No, but it gets you real close. And then you just start negotiating from there. Now, you're going to put in the contract, you guys, some what we call contingencies. So there's contingencies in the contract. And so what's a contingency? And so it's like a paragraph or 2 or 3 in the contract that allows you to get out the contract if everything fails, right? So we put a financing contingency, we put a inspection contingency, all those things are in the contract. So if your numbers are incorrect, you can get out the contract. Now, why else do we put a contingency in the contract? Somebody tell me. Why else do we put those contingencies in the contract? Huh? In case you're unable to find a cash buyer within that certain period of time of the contingency, you can always get out the contract. But if you put it in there, you've got 10 days to get a inspection or 10 days to get financing. You've got to pay attention to those 10 days or you've got to watch them every day. But in the background, you're trying to get a cash buyer. And if you don't, then you pull out the contract. Or if your numbers are incorrect, you finally find out your numbers are wrong, you get out the contract. Okay? But we are not letting not being able to determine the repair costs get in our way. And we're just talking about negotiation just as a way to make more money. Like, so question is, how you go from averaging $10,000 on a wholesale deal to $30,000 on a wholesale deal? The answer is, what is it? It starts with the N. It's negotiation. And the better you are, the better negotiator you are on the front end with the motivated seller and the back end with the cash buyer, the more money you're going to make. You got that, Bill? And we are not afraid to negotiate. I feel like come over there and just. All right, we got that. You guys want to add anything?
Well, let me say, Bill, what Greg is saying is correct. We don't let anything stop us. But what I was just saying, to enhance your negotiating skills, if you can look at and point things out, that just helps.
And I have one thing. And I think it's a mindset thing. Once you change your mindset and these shifts, a lot of things happen for you. So I would recommend reading Think and Grow Rich, Atomic Habits, and Abundance Now by Lisa Nichols. So if you start reading and trying to change your mindset to something different, things that happen, your confidence, a lot of things that happen differently for you. It's just a mindset change.
But I think the other thing is, you guys, I'm more than happy to vet a deal for you. I'm more than happy to go on appointments with you. There's a number of people in here, these guys, that I'm out. I love being out in the field. It's like going to Six Flags for me. I just love it. It's a lot of fun. You guys look like y'all never been to Six Flags. So I don't mind. I don't mind. So especially if I'm available, I'll go because I don't want you guys losing money. I want you guys to make money. So if you guys have a deal, just call me, and I'm happy to run comps for you. I'm happy to go out in the field with you. I've been out in the field with Andre. Andre comes late a lot, but I'm out there with him. Just messing with you, Andre. Andre, the next time, can you come early? Huh?
I used to be in the Army. I'm still in the I don't know what happened.
Because you're not in the Army anymore. All right. LLC. I want you guys running your business out of an LLC. 2 reasons why. What are they? Why should we have an LLC? Somebody tell me. Huh? So yeah, you reduce the liability, so it's limited liability. And then you get taxed as a individual, not as a corporation. And so those are the 2 benefits of an LLC. I don't want you running out getting an LLC until you actually have a bona fide deal, because the LLC costs, what does it cost, like $200 or $300? and then every year you've got to renew it, and it costs so close to the same amount. So it doesn't make sense. So just when you're coming close to getting a deal, then you get an LLC. We talked a little bit about so one other thing. A lot of our investors in our Platinum Coaching Program are finding their deals through auctions. A lot of them. Dana, talk about the property that you found. You found a property in Marshall Heights at an auction.
So my first buy and hold, I don't know if you all know about the shadow. We have Greg holds shadowing events, and he called a shadow event on a Saturday to a condominium complex in Southeast Washington D.C. And so we went in and took a look, and Keith opened the door and showed us around, and the property looked like it was had just been renovated. So in my mind, I'm wondering, why is this going to foreclose? Why is it on the auction block? So not letting these things get in the way, I told Greg, I said, Greg, I want to bid on this property. So he told me what to do. He instructed me. I was brand new to the program. He instructed me what to do. I bid, and I wasn't expecting to win, but I won the bid. So then I had to go through the process of finance, getting the finance, and he helped me with that as well. So it was a good experience. And that was my first buy and hold. I still have it.
And then, have you bought some property at the auction?
Yeah. My actually, my Airbnb. I have an Airbnb in Baltimore. That was my first auction. And that was an online auction from Ashland Auction. I don't know if it was as easy as yours, but I think mine was I don't know. It was like anybody Redskin fan, like, you know, I was like, oh my God, like I don't know if I'm gonna win it. Because what happens is, this is how serious it was. So I thought about this property for a while, because I went to go look at it, and I like to find an auction where I can go look at the property prior to, because on some auctions you don't just kind of like buy unseen. So I saw the property, and I was like, this would be a cute Airbnb. So me and my girlfriend went up there, and she was like, yeah. So me and Tasha went up there, and so we were thinking about getting it. So I was like, I don't know. So then the next week the auction actually came up, I looked at it, and it was like a bunch of people that's already bidding on the property. And so I said, okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and bid. So in order for me to bid, you gotta put up a credit card. I think it was like $2,500 or something. And so by the time the auction was almost over, it was like 3 minutes before the auction was over. And I think I was probably at like maybe like 120 or something. And like I said, I can't go over like I think my number's like 130. I said, can't go over like 130. And so I said, I waited till the time. And so once I pushed I think it was like 125, I pushed the button, and then the time started all over again. I was like, what in the world? So it gave people another 5 minutes to bid. So it was just me and this one person. We just kept bidding. And I was like, okay, well, I think I ended up going to like 140, but I didn't really want to go over to 130, which was, it was $10,000, but the property was worth it. It was really worth it what I spent on it. But it was just like a tug of war game for that particular property. And so right now I'm doing, I have an investor that's looking for property. So I've been going to the auction because he wants an auction property. Again, but you got to know your numbers. When I went to these properties, I like to research the property first before. Some people just like to buy unseen. That's just not what I would do. But auction properties it's a win-win, but you just got to do the research. I think everything is just the research and knowing your numbers.
Well, what was interesting to me, what she just said was, her and another person was bidding, and the price went up slightly, right? Mm-hmm. Who you guys think that other person was that was bidding against her?
Okay.
No, it wasn't me. It was probably the bank. Because that's happened to me like a few times.
Yeah, and when I went to the auction last week, I think the property was like I think the ARV of the property was like 340, and it was going to foreclosure. They owed $155,000 on it. So this is a property we really, really wanted because it was in the Suitland area. So we're trying to buy in Suitland. And so the auction started at 306. So of course it was the bank, and it went back to the bank. So you got to be knowledgeable of what you're bidding on too. It was nobody but the bank.
So when you're bidding, you just got to know your numbers. We just went over the formula. You stick to the formula, but you use, for auction properties, I want you to use 65% of the after repair value minus repair costs. We go down a little lower because oftentimes the properties are as is, where is, sight unseen, no inspection. Most of the ones that we do now, like with Ashland Auctions, you guys both went inside of yours, right?
Yeah, I did.
And hubzoo.com. A lot of them you're able to see inside, but this is just a new phenomenon. Like back in the day, you couldn't see on the inside, and so we go a little lower on the formula.
Yeah, I had a quick question. When you purchase the auction property, I know a lot of times they say, cash only. Are you guys using hard money, or how are you financing?
You can finance as long as you got your money in 30 days. You can finance it through the bank. You can finance it through a mortgage company, hard money, whatever works for you. Like the Airbnb, I financed it through PG. What's the name of the company? What's the name of the company? PRG. I financed through them for that particular Airbnb property.
Okay.
Now, which I would have. This property was also a pre-auction, so I could have bought the property prior to me going to the auction before all the numbers, but I wasn't quite sure if that's what I really wanted to do.
So I know this might be a question where it's like it might not be a one size fit all, but my question is, I guess now are they more lenient towards, if it says cash, are they more lenient to allowing you to get financing?
Yeah, as long as you can have your money in 30 days.
Well,
So for me, I had, as soon as I won the auction, I had to put a $10,000 deposit down. And so I had 30 days to come up with finances when it went to closing. In this particular property, and this again about relationship and networking, I didn't close in 30 days because that particular property in Baltimore is in Mount Vernon. And so the loan was according to the rent in the area. And so if you get an appraisers in Baltimore is like $1,400 period. And so, but it's not true because my area, Mount Vernon, the rent there was between $1,800 and $2,100 because of the area. But a regular appraiser just come out and say, well, this is what it is. So we had to fight the appraiser. We had to go get another appraiser. I had to get Marquise wanted another agent investor involved to act as my agent. So they can negotiate the difference between the rent that the appraisers gave me and what the actual rent was. So that was a battle. And then I was going to lose my deposit. Thank God that Greg knew the person and Greg intervened and they gave me an extension. I think it was like another 30 days or something.
I knew the auctioneer.
Yeah. And so had I had not known Greg, had I had not known Marquise, but just because of my networking, I would have lost my $10,000.
So
Because of the appraisal.
Because of the appraisal, correct.
So, but that's dealing with financing. But the question that you asked about as far as financing, them allowing you to finance, my experience has been they don't care where the money comes. Long as it's the 30-day mark is what you're dealing with. Not, your finances on you, whether you're a drug dealer or whatever. But the finances on you, and at 30 days, and that's why they ask for a good lump sum up front as a deposit, because that's gonna be gone. I know because I've lost money like that before, many years ago.
And I know a lot of people think auction, like I'm gonna do a wholesale deal with an auction. I wouldn't recommend it because in 30 days you can't find a cash buyer. You lost your money.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about marketing, you guys. Let's talk about lead generation. And so all that we've just talked about, you can be an expert at everything that we just talked about. If you're unable to find deals, you're not going to make any money, right? So the investors that can find the most deals will make the most money. I've always prided myself on solely focusing on finding deals. That's just been my focus my whole career. It's just that my career has been so long that I've learned how to wholesale, how to flip properties, how to buy and hold. But you've got to be a marketer. Like any entrepreneur, your number one goal is to find business. And so as an investor, you've got to know how to find business, how to find deals. And so how do you find deals? So number one, we just talked about auctions. And so we go to the auctions. We know our numbers, we follow properties, and then we have the courage to bid on those properties. And you've got to get the courage. You've got to trust your numbers. Let me vet the numbers for you. but trust your numbers and then take action. That's how you're going to wholesale. That's how you're going to buy and hold. That's how you're going to build generational wealth. So auction properties, we find them that way. Direct mail. Direct mail is a great way. And so finding list of people to send out mailers to. And so who are the list of people? Somebody tell me. I as an investor, I need to send out a mailing. Who am I sending the mailings to? Pre-foreclosures. And so you guys can get a list of pre-foreclosures from different list companies, from different CRMs. You can get a list. You can mail to that list. That same list you can call. Now we get virtual assistants to call for us. And so we have virtual assistants in the Philippines. We have virtual assistants in Egypt that call for us. We give them lists and they call for us. So that same list you can call, you can text message marketing. I would say some of the best ways of finding deals are direct mail, because we're directing that mail to our targeted audience. Our targeted audience is either pre-foreclosures, absentee owners. Absentee owner is an owner that owns the property but doesn't live there. The house is either vacant or abandoned, or landlords just they don't want the properties anymore. They're sick and tired of the 3 T's: tenants, termites, and toilets. They're tired of it. And so landlords keep their properties about they sell their properties every 3 to 4 years because of the 3 T's. They buy the properties below market, which means in another 3 to 4 years, it's gained even more equity. Absentee owners are a great way to a great target audience to market to. And so we do driving for dollars. We network. How are you guys finding your properties?
So right now, mine is more like social media, word of mouth. I look at the auction, pre-foreclosure list, and I use PropStream a lot. My PropStream list is out of town owners, absentee, and I do like elderly between a certain age.
What about you, Dana?
So I drive for dollars a lot, but it's kind of have come to, because I brand myself a lot, word of mouth. So I'm having people start to come to me because they know what I do. And so they're starting to bring deals to me. Actually, 2 of my deals because people brought them to me. My last 2.
And go ahead.
I have a quick question. I know I keep hearing the pops trend. Does anybody have Deal Machine? And I'm trying to compare those 2.
I used Deal Machine for a while, but for me, PropStream works better for me. It has, I think it's the package is better. It's a lot of more things you can do in PropStream. You can do Deal Machine. I think it's around the same price too.
Okay, so Deal Machine is better than.
No, I like PropStream. I mean, but it all depends on your preference, what you're looking for.
If you had to choose between the 2, I would get PropStream.
Right.
Because PropStream does everything that Deal Machine does, but a lot more.
Okay.
Bill?
Skip Tracy, what is the best website, best information for property?
I would still say PropStream.
Yeah, PropStream has skip tracing in it
So
too.
PropStream has everything you need as an investor.
Provide you with the most current updated information, name, address, phone numbers,
Yeah.
email.
Yeah.
I can't say if it's current, it's what they can find. And some of them are spot on and some of them are far fetched, but it works.
The best marketing is for an investor. The best marketing is found at the courthouse. All the information you ever need as an investor is located at the courthouse. There's about 5 or 6 different things you can get at the courthouse that's going to help you as an investor. And so you guys help me list them. So you guys tell me, what can you find at the courthouse? Somebody tell me.
Cash buyers,
Owner's name,
Huh?
property owner's name.
property owners name.
Yeah, you can find a property owner's name, but there's other tools for that.
Probate.
So probate, so you guys write down probate. So,
Divorce.
so the probate office is at the courthouse, right? Divorce.
Yeah.
Divorce filings. Is that a good market to?
Mhm.
People are getting divorced and they need to sell their properties. What else?
Code violation.
Code violation. There you go.
What's
You
that?
started off kind of weak, but now you come.
Code
Code violation.
Code violation.
Code
You know, like if
violation,
you,
like citations, like something
Right.
happened to the property
you don't have
and
your
you gotta
property fixed up.
stop.
Or the grass is high and they give you a code violation. Tax lien. Write that down.
What about foreclosures?
Foreclosure. Somebody write that down. See, we're at 5 already. Anything else? Can you guys think of anything else you can get from the courthouse?
Oh, yeah, you got code violation.
Wait, hold it. Go ahead, Charles.
Oh, you can find buyers here.
Cash buyers.
You can find cash. So write that down. That's a good one. You can find your cash buyers at the courthouse because they're there for the auctions. And so if you're ever struggling to find cash buyers, you go to the auction with paper and pen, and everyone that's bidding on the properties, you just write their names and numbers down. You guys with me? And so we've established that the courthouse is probably one of the best ways to find deals, right? All the deals you could ever want is at the courthouse.
Which courthouse?
Any courthouse in any jurisdiction. So here's what you need to do. There's companies out here that get all the courthouse data and they stack it up and they sell you that data. You guys with me? So you don't have to go to the courthouse. So if you ever want foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, code violations, tax liens, probate, you can go to one of many sites, one of which is foreclosuredaily.com. Foreclosuredaily.com. They will give you a list of courthouse data and they'll stack it for you.
Is it foreclosure deal?
Foreclosuredaily.com. Dataflick.com. Flick, F-L-I-K, Dataflick. They stack that information for you and send it to you. They give you that courthouse data. You got, huh?
You said data flip.
Flick with the K, Flick. And Authentic, A-U-D-E-N-T-I-C, Authentic.com is courthouse data. That's the best. Yeah. That's the best data that you guys can get. Now, does this data, are these lists, do they cost more? They cost more. But you'll get better use out of these lists than any other list. All this information comes right from the courthouse. It's all Foreclosure Daily sends you a fresh list every week. Fresh list every week. And they use artificial intelligence to be able to tell you that this person, not only is this person behind in their mortgage, but then they also have a code violation. They'll send you an email, you need to call this person right now. Or this person's divorced, the house is getting ready to go to foreclosure. And so they use artificial intelligence to gather all that information, and then they send you either those people or a list. These people are likely behind in their mortgage and they need to sell their house now. So you're not just getting a pre-foreclosure list, you're getting fresh data that the AI has said these people need to sell now. Now those lists cost more money, but they're the best lists out here. It's called predictive, write this down, predictive data. And so you want to use predictive data when you're marketing for investment opportunities. You want the best people, the number one targeted audience for you to call, for you to send postcards to, for you to send text messages to, right? You want the best people to do that to, and you get it from those companies. You guys with me? There's also, you have a question, Alice?
Yeah, now you're saying something about the site gathers the information that tells you if this person has a violation or co-violation or loan foreclosure or divorce. Does the courthouses have those data as well?
So they're pulling that information from the courthouse.
Okay,
They're pulling it from different databases.
okay.
And so the AI is so it's more expensive, but it's worth it. You're going to get deals from it. Yeah. So the courthouse is pulling all that information, and so these companies are just going in and just gathering the information, and they're predicting that these people need to sell their houses, and they're selling that data. There's other companies out here, you guys, that are you guys familiar with SEO, search engine optimization? So there's companies out here that use SEO to build lists of people, and they sell their leads. So there's companies like propertyleads.com and need to sell your house. It's either need to sell your house or need to sell your house fast.com. They sell leads. And so they do pay-per-click. And so if you were to Google, if I'm losing my house, what am I going to Google? If I'm losing my house, if I'm looking for a cash buyer, what am I going to Google? Some of y'all have getting ready to lose your house right now. What did y'all Google? Danielle made me do it. What do you Google? What do you Google? You get ready to lose your house. What are you Googling? Huh? Sell my house fast. I need to sell my house. I need a cash buyer. So there's companies out here, you guys, like the companies that I just mentioned, that when you Google that, they come up number one on Google. People go to those sites, they put in their information, and those companies actually sell those leads. So you can get those leads, or what I've done is I've optimized my site so that I'm doing it now. I hired a company out of India. All the SEO experts are in India. And so that I'm doing the same thing with my site. So I'm optimizing my site. Someone goes into Google, and Google's need to sell my house or need to sell my house fast in Prince George's County, Maryland, and DC. I'm going to organically come up. Plus, I'm going to do the pay-per-click. So when you click on my site, it's going to cost me money. So don't go on there doing that and start clicking my site. That's going to cost me money. But doing the pay-per-click. And then the other thing is, so we've got the Google ads, which is the SEO. We've got the pay-per-click, and then the social media ads. So you can up your game once you start making money. You can up your game with the social media ads, the paid ads.
I've got a couple questions.
Go ahead.
That website,
Which one?
you said propertyleads.com. What was the second one?
And somebody Googled need to. I think it's either need to sell your house or need to sell your house fast. Need to sell your house fast? Okay.
And also, Danielle said auctions weren't a good idea for wholesaling.
What? No, it's not for me. It's not, because I don't want to lose my deposit and can't find a cash buyer.
Right.
So if you have 30 days to get the money to make sure that, so suppose on day you can't find a cash buyer, and day 29 you finally found a cash buyer. The auction wants you to close in 30 days.
So the solution to that is, before you bid on the property, you find your cash buyer. you call, hey, Greg, I found this property. This is the address. What would you buy the property for? And then you bid. Now I don't like doing that personally, but if you're going to do that, do what's called reverse wholesaling, meaning you find your cash buyer first, then you bid on the property. So now if you win, you don't have to worry about finding a cash buyer. You've already found one.
So would you even have repair costs if you get it off the auction if it's already fixed up?
Yeah, so you need the repair cost. That's why I say on auction properties, use the formula with 65%, just in case you're wrong. You can use the 30% if you can't see, go inside, but use 65%.
What if the auction the cash buyer backs out because this is an auction? So what happens? Is there any way you can tie the cash buyer to it before you go for the auction?
Yeah, so you want to make sure that the cash buyer's not. So on an auction property, I would highly recommend using somebody that you know.
Yeah, what if you decide to back out? So how do you tie it?
Get a
Well,
EMD.
I mean, I think that's Danielle's.
But you,
Okay, if I'm really gonna buy this at this time, if I get property at this price, definitely gonna buy it.
well, the EMD is the answer, right?
Yeah, but
You
even,
get-
but even, but
Get it together.
so,
No,
His EMD to
no,
match your
because,
EMD.
no, listen, because you did the auction. So the auction requires you to pay that buyer's premium. So I paid the $10,000 and I didn't, my cash buyer backed out. Hopefully my cash buyer put the deposit down, but most likely I'm gonna put that deposit down and I'm gonna lose out my $10,000 because at the end of the day, my cash buyer backed out.
No, what I'm saying is,
So how do you get the cash buyers to kind of pay that money upfront?
if he wants the house and he'll pay, he'll put it, just like any investor is gonna put it up. If you serious, then that's how you know if he's serious.
So at least we can time
This is what's required. So,
And that's why it's important to deal with cash buyers that you know, especially in a tricky situation like that. I wouldn't do it, but if you have to do it, you gotta trust somebody that you can do it with.
But the answer is, I think, what Dana is saying. So you have, as a wholesaler, you guys, at wholesaling the right way, you would never ever putting up any of your own money, okay, for anything. You get your cash buyer to put up, number one, the deposit on the contract, and there's a second deposit for the wholesale fee. There's two deposits.
Yeah.
You get your cash buyer to put up that money. Okay, that's how we wholesale. As a wholesaler, we're not showing any of our own credit. We're not using any of our own cash. We find a cash buyer, and the cash buyer is putting up that money.
Well, that's on the traditional wholesaling side, but with the auction side, it's you going for the auction that has to pay for it.
No,
You can get
listen
it,
no,
you
listen
get
to
a
what
cash
I'm
buyer to pay for that too.
listen to what I'm saying. You do the reverse wholesaling. You call Danielle and tell her about the property. Danielle, this is an example.
Don't call me.
Just play along, Danielle. Okay, you call Dana,
call me.
and Dana says, "I'll buy the property for $300,000." You get it under. Dana's putting up the money. Okay.
So, and maybe to Danielle's point is once you win that bid, then they, within 24 hours, they want some money coming in. So that's why it's important to have your cash buyers lined up. This is what I'm doing. That's what Greg was saying. This is the property I'm looking. I'm going, this auction is tomorrow. Do you want the property and how much? How high are you willing to pay for this property? And you're going like that. You already know what their limit is. And when they hit, okay, they already know, okay, I won the bid, send me that money now. Send me that deposit so I can pay this deposit and we can move forward. That's how I would do it.
Would you get the list of the properties before we go to the auction?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
I was gonna say it's a difference, with our properties, online auctions and in-person auctions. So it sounds like one way is in person and the other way, you put down your 10 grand, that's online, because you have to do it to enter the auction.
Wait, no, well, with Ashland, I had to put up a credit card that had 10,000 worth, but that wasn't my deposit. They just wanted to know I was serious about entering, so I had to do that to even join the auction.
Right.
But after I won the bid, I had 24 hours to get them their deposit, which was separate from that.
Gotcha. So you saying y'all
put your deposit down, but the 24 hours your buyer.
Yeah, so your cash
So
buyer.
if your buyer, so in 24 hours, say your buyer doesn't decide that they want to do it, you done lost out on your initial deposit when you
No,
put the
you
credit
don't
card
let
up.
them pay.
No, I'm just saying. So suppose they back out. Greg was like, well, I slept on it and God told me don't do this, and he decided not to do it. You still lost out on your $2,500 because you had to put a credit card up to bid online.
So Greg, I didn't run. Do they take the money off their credit card if you?
Yeah, but they'll so companies like Ashton Auction, well not Ashton, but like Hubzu, something happens one time, they'll give you money back. Just one time. 2 times, then you can't bid anymore.
And then if you're doing auctions on the steps, you had to have a cashier's check to bid on.
But have your cash buyers.
Yeah.
So look, you guys, let's wrap this up. I want to give you guys some homework, and I want to give you guys a 60-day challenge. Okay, I want you guys to find a wholesale deal within the next 60 days. Okay, that's my challenge to you. Is that easy?
Yes.
Oh, it is easy. I was gonna say it wasn't. So it can be easy if you put forth the work and put forth the effort. It's like anything else. You can do it, but you've got to be focused on doing it. You've got to set a goal for yourself, and then you've got to put forth the efforts to do it. And so, from what you've learned today, what's one of the first steps?
Mindset.
Huh?
Mindset.
So I would say it's a mindset. You've got to think that you can do it. And then number 2 is, and everything is on here, but you've got to find like a targeted area. I want you guys to find a targeted area. That area should be close to where you live, where you're from, where you frequent. And then you want to attack that area. And then once you find that area, what's the marketing you're going to do in that area? What kind of marketing are you going to do? Somebody tell me. You are not going to find any deals. You are not going to make any money unless you're marketing, you're doing some type of lead generation. That's the key to your success. What are you guys going to do? Somebody tell me. You can do flyers. That's not the best way. You guys can get a list and call. Or like what we do, you can get a list and have virtual assistants call. That's what we do. Where do you get the list from? Somebody tell me. You can get a list. You can get the list from PropStream. There's other list companies like Listability, Melissa Data, and ListSource.com. You can get lists from there. The best list, you guys, the best list is the predictive data list, and that's Foreclosure Daily. So one of your homework assignments is to call foreclosuredaily.com. That's one of your homework assignments, to call them. Who's the girl we talked to? Is it Tangi? I think it's Tangi. Call and ask for her.
And if you have a cold calling coach,
Huh? From foreclosuredaily.com?
No, probate.com.
I'm not familiar with probate.com.
The lady used to come here before.
Huh?
The lady from probate used to come here before. Remember?
No, not probate. Maybe Ashland Auctions has been here. I'm not sure who you're referring to.
There's a lady that used to come here from probate.com.
Okay.
Used to attend the classes here before.
I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, if you have a cold calling coach like I do, keep as my cold calling coach. That's how I get my list.
That was one of the questions that I had. Is how important having a mentor, somebody that holds your hand from the beginning in.
And so we have Coach Keith. Keith, why don't you stand up and just talk to them a little bit about why they should have a coach and a little bit about our coaching program.
That's my coach right there. That's him. That's him.
You know, they say when you're presenting that you should always have stories. And these guys have told the story. And then we have some coaching students here that realize that they need their hand And so we talked also about mindset. You gotta have the mindset that this is what we're gonna do. How do we want to finish the year? What are our goals for 2024? We gotta write them down, but now we gotta take action. In our coaching program, I'm gonna be in the back while we're having our sandwiches. If you guys wanna maybe schedule a one-on-one so that we can talk and kind of strategize where you are now and where you're trying to be. But it's doable. And there's plenty of testimony in here, but no better testimonies like that the other day. So getting it done.
So they've gone through the coaching program, and like Keith said, they're getting it done. You guys are not, to answer your question, Bill, you guys aren't, it's going to be very, very difficult for you guys to scale your businesses, to even get into business, to invest at a high level without coaching. And so even I have a coach. And so there's a program, I've told this story recently, where somebody, Brad, you guys know who Brad Chandler is? Express Home Buyers. You guys heard of Express Home Buyers?
Yeah.
Anyway, Brad says to me, you should be part of our mastermind. I said, well, Brad, tell me a little bit about it. So he told me a little bit about the mastermind. It's a national mastermind with, all the top investors in it. And I said, okay, that's cool. Well, what's the price? He said it's $18,000. I said, oh, the market is tight. Told me a little more about the program. The guy in charge of the program called me and he said, we can break it up to, $1,500 a month. And the more he described the program, the more I thought to myself, I can't afford not to be in this program. I joined the program about 2 months ago, and I can't tell you, it's been life-changing for me. A lot of the stuff I just talked to you guys about with the predictive data and all that, I've learned already. And, I'm going to Tampa to meet with those guys next week. And I'm sure I'll come back with all just, I'll come back with my mind blown. But it's gonna scale my business probably tenfold within the next year by just being around the right people. And so you guys heard of Robert Kiyosaki? You guys heard of what's the old man's name? God, I'm being taped too. No, Carlton, she's not.
Warren Buffett.
Is not.
Warren Buffett.
He's not living anymore. But anyway, all the top names you guys have heard of is in this mastermind. And so I'll be with them for 2 days next week. And it's all about learning from each other, getting that information from them. Hopefully I'll be able to add something, but being around the right people. That's the only way you're going to get it. It's the only way you're going to learn. Some of you guys, I see you guys come back each time, but you're going to get to the levels that you guys want to get to by now. Do we charge $1,500? Or 18,000, not even close. But the information that you guys can get from us with all the years of experience, not just from us, but from our coaching students who's willing to give. That's the biggest thing. These guys came today and they just came for the food. They didn't know they were speaking. They said, well, let me go. Grace going.
I came to support.
No, you came for the food. They didn't even know they were going to be sitting up here. But when I asked them, they was like, sure. You know why? Because they want to give. Because they know the more they give, the more they support, the more they're going to get back. And so that's what we're all about. And that's what you guys need to be around. Because we're willing to give. Look at just look at Andre. Just take a look at him real quick. Just look at him. He ain't nothing special.
But he's doing it though.
Andre,
He getting it done for sure.
Andre, tell him about those 3 properties. The 3 properties you just bought on West Baltimore Street.
Yeah, I just purchased 3 properties on West Baltimore Street, and I'm renovating them now. I'm in the process of renovating. So I just got a package all at one time. I'm going to buy, holding them my 4 tenants in there. I'll refinance and I'll put my cash back out.
And then you bought one in Temple Hills. Was that this year or last year?
Last year.
Oh, last year.
I actually just refinanced on that in February of this year. But I last August. So same time this year, I'm buying these 3 properties I bought, the Temple Hills property. So I bought a property in Temple Hills off of Alexander Oak Branch Avenue. And I renovated that. And now I got 2 families and I made 2 units. So I got a 3-bedroom, 2 bath upstairs, 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom downstairs, 2 different families.
So here's a question, you guys. And this is what I ask myself. I say to myself, if that person can do it, if these people can do it, how come I can't do it? And then you guys don't have an excuse because you've got all the resources here. You guys are not on an island all by yourself. You're going to get the help. You just have to. I found a way to come. This year's tight. Like, we're not selling a lot of real estate. The market is tight. Our brokerage is tight. I said to myself, I cannot afford not to be in the room with these guys a couple times a year. Actually, we're having a meeting right now. Every other Thursday, we're on a virtual call. I gotta be in the room because I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna scale my business a lot quicker being around all the right people. And so that's a long way of answering your question, William. You need the coaching, you need the mentorship. You get to your goals a lot faster, but then more importantly, you minimize your mistakes.
I just want to add that he's right, because even though I know a little bit about wholesaling and stuff like that, I've been doing wholesale good now. But coming here today, you know, I learned more. Like you talking about negotiating and stuff like that, go back and negotiate it down some more, even after under contract.
100% of the time.
So look, I just put it. I got a wholesale deal now.
Unless you're doing a deal with me.
So I got a deal now. I got it under contract for 200. I'm selling for 215. But I'm trying to get. So I already sent all the paperwork to title company. I think I'm gonna go back and still try to renegotiate.
Why not? Because even like if it's Danielle,
Yeah.
Danielle's already said she's gonna give you 5,000. So even
That's
if it's
because
5,000,
Right.
I'm gonna use him again. He's gonna use me again.
Yeah, I tried it 2 days ago. The guy said, I'm not going no lower than that, man. I'm not going no lower than that. So I left it alone, but I'm gonna go back again.
just one more time.
Yeah.
Just kind of him and haw. Look, I'm trying to make these numbers work,
Yeah,
but it's just a little more. Justify it with something in the house.
yeah.
Can you just 5,000?
Look, last week a tree fell on the roof, but I think he might be taking.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So well, wait a minute, but suppose the insurance company don't, then what happens? This is what you all already got a contract. So you all already have a contract. You already have a contract on the house,
Already have a contract.
and then the tree fell
See,
on.
I had it at 215, right? The tree fell on. I negotiated it down to 200. He called me back saying that the insurance company's gonna take care of the roof. So I already got it at 200. I called him back again, tried to get him to 180, 185, 190. I'm not going no lower than that, man. He owed 129 on the house. You see what I'm saying? Right. So, and there's a probate.
What area is that located?
It's right there in Brentwood. Brentwood, 23.
No, don't tell Dana that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so right now it's a $15,000 wholesale deal, but to me, that's like a commission. I'm trying
Right.
to get wholesale.
Yeah, but 20 is better than 15.
Yeah. So at least if he go down to number 5, well, that's 20 right there. But what if he go down 10?
You'll never know unless you ask.
Right.
And no shame in asking. You're already locked up, so you're still going to buy the house either way. Question?
Yeah, so let's say when you're buying wholesale, if you put like contingency, because there's a lot of buyers out there. Would they go with someone who just buying houses or has no contingency? Would that kind of make sense?
So off-market deals, oftentimes on an off-market deal, I'm the only one they're talking to, or maybe me and somebody else. And so as much as there's all these wholesalers in this room, if you do the right marketing, you're going to be the only one. And it's highly likely that only 2 or 3 of you in this room are going to do the marketing that we just talked about. I mean, I'm just being realistic. And so you be the one that takes action, but never ever be intimidated by there's so many other cash buyers, there's so many other wholesalers out here. You be the wholesaler, you take action. When I first got in the business, it was the same thing. And I could have folded my tent and said, no, this is too much competition. But I love competition. Like I love it. You think Deion Sanders coming from an HBCU was afraid to go to Colorado and compete? That's prime time. Prime time said, no, I'm competing. Right? All right. Don't be afraid now. You know why? Because it's personal. Somebody say it's personal.
It's personal.
It's personal.
It is.
Okay.
We're having a bit of a challenge to find tenants recently. I think there's a lot of people. Would you recommend Airbnb property as a, rented for this year?
Absolutely. Where's the property at? In Baltimore. Only thing about Baltimore Airbnb is the property in your name was in an LLC. LLC. So the new rules in Baltimore, you can't do a Airbnb in an LLC name.
Really?
So if it's in an LLC name, you can't do it. You can't do it. But what I can recommend, you can do traveling nursing. Traveling nursing, you can find it on Furniture Finders. So because of all of the properties, all the hospitals in the area, nursing are looking for places to stay all the time. And you can charge them a daily rate, or you can charge them a monthly rate, kind of similar to an Airbnb, and they have a stipend, so you can, whatever the property value is or the rent in that area, you can charge more.
And would you recommend posting it anywhere other than, let's say, Zillow or Facebook Market?
Say that again.
Would you recommend, let's say, posting it anywhere other than Zillow and Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, so I don't post on Facebook Market, but any social media platform, nursing, which is Finders, it's Furniture Finders is a good place. You're not gonna be able to place it on like Boo or Airbnb because of the fact you're gonna need a number for that. But Furniture Finders are probably like the better place right now because they're always on them.
So two things for you. So number one, you if you want to do Airbnb, you can just change. You can use our title company, and they'll take it out of the LLC and put in your personal name. But if I was you, I would, huh?
Yeah, she was a rental.
Yeah.
That does that.
No, rental, it doesn't matter. She can do that. But if I was you, I would rent it out. I would get Section 8. I would so contact me. So I have a tenant placement company that will find a Section 8 tenant for you. And so Baltimore is at least two year. They have a 2-year waiting list on Section 8. So there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to find a Section 8 tenant. And so just use a tenant placement company. And I have one that I'll recommend to you. Yeah, I would rent it out. Depending on where it is in Baltimore, traveling nurses work, but you've got to be close to like a hospital.
No, we prefer, to do a month by month, but it has been challenging.
No, it's all right. We'll get you straight. And again, you guys, that's the benefit of being around the right people and give you all the right resources. I can get that rented out for you. Okay. So look, you guys, find a place to market to, and then do some marketing. Start building your cash buyers list. Okay. Start building your cash buyers list, and put in your mind that you're going to do something. You're going to take a little baby step every single day to make this thing happen. While we're doing all that, while we're wholesaling properties, while we're doing that, we're working on our credit. We're working on our finances. We're saving the money from the wholesale deals, because ultimately we've got to buy and hold to build wealth. Your ultimate goal is not to be a wholesaler. We use wholesaling as a means to an end to get the cash to then buy and hold. Buy and hold is going to build you generational wealth. Okay, it's going to give you the cash flow you need for retirement. It's going to allow you to leave a legacy for your children. So ultimately, that's what we need to do. So we need to start preparing while we're wholesaling and making that money. We're not going to make that money and start spending it. We're going to save that money and we're going to invest it. We're investors, not consumers. You guys got that?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, you talked about 20% valuation strategy for the ARV in order to estimate the cost of repair, right? But would this work at every point in time? Because
No.
for instance, we have houses that same size, same square foot,
but they need
Well,
more work. But it doesn't.
not needing more work, they need the same work, but um, the cost of the property in this area is more than the cost of the property on the other area. So if you're using 20%,
You can still use in that scenario. You can still use 20% because the two houses in the two different areas, the ARV is going to be higher in one
that's what
area.
I'm saying, but they have the same sort of damage. So the one with the lesser value is going to give you the 20% is going to be smaller.
It doesn't work every time, but it does work. It does work if that's all you have. If I'm not there, if a contractor's not there, then use that just to get the property under contract, and then we can go back and renegotiate.
What about using the strategy whereby we use the square foot?
I don't do that. Some people do that. I don't do price per square foot.
You don't do that.
Hey, look, you guys, before we let you guys see, a couple things. I'm hosting a live virtual class, a 4-week class starting next month. You guys contact us if you're interested in our live virtuals. 4 weeks. I'm going to go over every aspect of real estate investing. I'm going to take a deeper dive into your strategies, the marketing strategy, and I'll have guests on, some of my coaching students. So 4 weeks, it'll be every Wednesday for the 4 weeks in October. Okay. It will send out, we don't have a link on here on page 4, but we'll send out a link. You guys can register. Or if you want to register now, are they able to register now, Beverly? Okay, so we'll contact you guys. We talked a lot about PRMG Mortgage, our mortgage company, our title company. For those of you guys who are real estate agents and you're looking for come here, Beverly, you're looking for an investor-friendly brokerage that not only will teach you how to list and sell real estate, give you 100% of your commission, but then also teach you how to build wealth. We're the brokerage for you. And so this is Beverly right here. Talk to Beverly. There's a form on here where you can go to joinbrs.com to schedule an appointment, or just talk to Beverly and she'll schedule your appointment. We just moved to this location. Our office is actually right across the street here. You can just walk across the street. She's happy to show you our office, tell you all the wonderful things that we have going on here at Bennett Realty Solutions. Look, you guys, I want to thank Danielle. Danielle, do you have any closing remarks, any words of advice for these guys?
I just think you just change your mindset. You got to get it done. Don't be that person that comes here every week or every other week and you write your notes down and you're like, oh, next week I'm gonna do it, or I'm invest. So I just think you need to do it, and you have to invest in yourself. I don't know how much it costs now, but whatever it is, it's worth it, and it's worth it to have a team of a networking coach and people that you can always call to help you go through the process. So I mean, when you do it by yourself, you're kind of alone. You don't know, you make mistakes, but just invest, and it's not a whole lot. I mean, think about the money that you spend on your purse or your trips or things that you like. And it'll change your life. It really will. It will.
Dana?
What I didn't say is that I tried this many years ago and fell flat on my face because I tried to do it on my own with no mentorship. And it was a complete failure. I had gained some profit, but I ended up losing everything. So, and that can happen, but that's why you do want the proper mentorship. Before I joined Greg's group, I came to his meetings and I paid close attention to him. And what I read from him is that I felt I could trust him. That's meant everything to me. There's a lot of people giving classes and throwing out information, but the fact I felt I could trust him, and he's proven that I was right after over 2 years. It's about investing in ourselves because we got to make a sacrifice. This economy that we live in, things are so crazy. We don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now. They tell me the government shutting down. It's all kind of stuff going on. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have to take control of our own lives. Is the way I see it. Is what I've chosen to do. Take control of my life and my family, to make sure me and my family gonna be okay. So now I have inheritance I can leave my children and my grandchildren. The word of God says that's what a good parent does, you know, and that's what I'm trying to do is live up to that. So, yeah, I would suggest anybody who's think that they really want to do it. If you don't really want to do it, and if you just hear, that's one thing. But if you really want to do it, I would make the investment.
Thank you, Dana. What that one? I didn't even pay these guys for that. Let's give these guys a hand. So this is Keith in the back. If you guys want to talk to him about one of our coaching programs, we do have our platinum coaching program, but then we also have our inner circle. Our inner circle is $97 a month. It gets you in, gives you access to our weekly Q&As, some one-on-ones with Keith. But our platinum coaching program is more robust. We're running a special now. It's $2,500 for 6 months, and then we can break that down into six monthly payments. And so talk to Keith, you guys. You owe it to yourself. Beverly's also in the back. If you're thinking about making a switch in terms of your brokerage, or just even want to get into real estate and get your license, it's not a requirement to have a real estate license as an investor, but it is a lot of benefits to doing that. All right, you guys, let's go. Let's find a property, 6 months. Let's follow a lot of the things that are on the handout. Call me, DM me, text me. If you guys have a property, I'm happy to go out. I do buy properties. I am a cash buyer. So if you guys have any deals, just let me know. Thanks a lot, you guys. Oh, we have the orange surveys, you guys. Fill those out for us. Thank you, guys. Y'all just walk up on me.
These seats a little hard, but you gotta get some
You guys all cash buyers?
Yeah.
Are you the only three in here?
We're the only three that you need.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you need.
That's all I gotta get on it, man.
All right.
I'll be in contact with you.
How old are you?
19.
That's what's up. Had I had known what I know then when I was 19, so.
Yeah, all right. So how long you been involved?
I just got started.
After it's on the MLS.
I've been talking to Kid.
If it's on the MLS, there's one contract we have to use. If it's not on the MLS, we can.
Hi, ladies. You got my number already? You probably do.
I gotta,
I graduated.
we have to wait for a couple hours. I've got appointment at 1, 2:30, and 3:30.
I don't know the
Started my own business.
Yeah. All you have to do is email it to me.
I'm talking to somebody right back.
It's,
So, but what is that?
I'm gonna write it down for you.
What is that? Wholesale? So you purchase it all.
Break it down and sell it.
That's good.
I pay for that.
It's a whole entrepreneurial spirit. You gotta go to Carmen. You gotta be no, you know what? I ain't bringing it. All right, so it's 301. Sorry. 247-0225.
Huh? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, I like those. Hey, you got your sandwiches. Sandwiches in the back.
LEWIS. I'm gonna reach out to you, man. Yeah, what's your name? George Scott. Send me a text. What's your name?
You get least with free. I'm gonna share some with you. Yeah, but you gotta call the person representative.
My wife's a mortgage broker.
Then I'll come.
So what is this? So if y'all remember,
You have a card?
Email me that.
Oh, great. Well, with that,
I gotta close the morning.
Yes, well.
is there a reason why your clothing brand is not? Something you can tweak that? Just think about it. It's a thought. I don't want you to answer. I want you to think about it. Just think about it.
And I need to get your number.
Oh, it's 301.
While you're messing with this young man over here.
301. 247 0225. Thank you.
How do I get a hold of you?
So yeah, I'm gonna call this time. We're gonna talk, man.
I got you, man. I got your number. I'll hit
Appreciate
you
you,
up.
man. Yeah, I'd like to see that, man.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, we gotta meet up too.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah.
My number's on the
I got.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna lock in my phone.
I get it right.
'Cause I got two phones. That phone, that's outside.
Yeah, me too. I have two phones too. One of them.
Have you been cold calling?
I haven't.
Yeah,
Because
So I'll get up that.
I've been trying to. I have a whole bunch of
Okay.
You have a whole bunch of what?
other stuff happening.
Oh,
But I've been. I'm gonna start my cold calling. Once I get my stuff.
Okay.
Just like so many tools.
no, that's my issue. Because there's so much going on, I can't get my focus.
Right. So I'm getting my focus together.
Right.